Let's bring in Cedric, Maxwell, and Jeff Goodman of Stadium. Should we be more focused on the accomplishment with the Celtics of getting to the finals, or should we be obsessed with the fact that they got there and couldn't win?
I think we should be more focused right now on how they played in getting to the finals. This team in the middle of the year was tied for 11th place in the Eastern Conference. And then for them making a miraculous comeback, win the games they did. And I'll have to agree with you. It's more about the skill set and scoring when you score the basketball. The Celtics did a good job of understanding who they were at times. But against Golden State, they were exploited because Golden State had, I think, the championship mantle. And they played with a confidence that, the Celtics just didn't have.
Goodman, what should we be focusing on?
It's a combination of both, Trenni. I mean, come on, you can't have one without the other. Like you said, you're disappointed because you were oh so close. But still, let's go back to January 28th. You were 25-25. You were thinking about, are you even going to make the playoffs, or should you bottom out to try to get a really good draft pick? So to me, I don't think you can have one without the other. Obviously, again, this was an opportunity lost because it's not like this Warriors team was overpowering, or there was any team overpowering this year in the NBA, and that could change quickly in the offseason. But again, I think when you look back, you should be happy that you were you had an NBA Finals and an extended postseason to actually have interest in.
All right, let me give this to you, Goodman. Yesterday on this show, before any game was played and before we saw how it all unfolded, some people said that if the Celtics did not win last night and did not win at all in a Game 7, that this entire season would be a failure. Not just not getting to a title, but the season would be a failure. I already see you shaking your head saying that is crazy. I thought it was nuts.
Let's call them out. Let's call out these knuckleheads for who they were. Who was it? Scal and Eddie. I love Scal to death in Eddie House, but come on. A failure? Like, again, look back at where a failure would have been that this team didn't make the playoffs, because that was reality back in mid to late January. No, this was not a failure, because you can build on this and there's optimism going into next season. Certainly there are things that need to be addressed, whether it's with Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown taking care of the basketball, Robert Williams making sure he's healthy, adding a piece. But ultimately, no, this was not a failure by any means. That's insane.
How can that be a failure when you look at where this team was? And I'll have to agree with Jeff completely, because this team made a comeback in so many different ways. And what we looked at, you remember what people were saying for a while? They can't meet you can't meet Brooklyn. Well, they beat Brooklyn. Then you turn around and you play the world champions, the defending world champions. You beat them. And then you beat Miami. I'll have to disagree with Jeff when you think about dominant teams. Phoenix was pretty dominant this year, and they got the crap beat out of them at the end of the day. So I think there's so many things that you look at and you say there's things to build on with this team. Let me give you a quick fact and a fact check that I'll say. And Trenni, I'll ask you pose a question to you. I love doing this all the time. How many points do you think Larry Bird averaged in 1981 in the championship series? 13?
I'm just guessing because I was like
15 and 15, but this is where the growth you talk about. He averaged 15, but he averaged 15 rebounds and 7 assists. And that's where you're going to have to see Jayson Tatum. That's where he has to grow. And that's how this team is going to get better. When you're not shooting it well, you have to do other things that are going to compensate for that.
Yeah, Max, you answered the question I was just going to ask both of you, so now I'll direct it to Jeff Goodman. You know, a lot of people are criticizing Goodman, Jayson Tatum's performance. Is it just growing pains, or is there some concern, Jeff, that he doesn't have that it factor?
Listen, I love Tatum. I mean, I've loved him since he was a sophomore in high school. So I'm not fully objective when it comes to Jayson Tatum. I don't think he's ever going to be Kobe Bryant. We know that. I don't think. He's never going to be Kobe Bryant and having that killer instinct. He can get better in that regard. But I think the hard part for Tatum this year was, okay, everybody's calling him selfish when he's taking the step back threes. So, and they're losing. So what does he do? He starts to play team basketball and trust his teammates and make the right pass. And now they get on him for doing that and not being assertive enough. So I still think he's trying to figure it out, when to put his foot on the pedal and when to trust his teammates. So I think he'll be better in that regard next year. This is still a learning process for him this year.